All right, let's get right into it. Anthropic just dropped a pretty significant update for Claude, and it's aimed squarely at professionals. We're talking about plugins, and these things are designed to turn Claude from a general all-purpose AI into a real specialist for your specific job. So we're going to unpack what these new superpowers are all about. I mean, really think about that for a second. The general AIs we use are amazing, but you know the drill. They don't have that deep, specific knowledge about your industry or your company's quirks or your exact role. You're always feeding it context. But what if you could just skip all that? What if you could give your AI an instant PhD in whatever it is you do? Well, that's the exact problem these new plugins are here to solve. And the solution they came up with is actually a fantastic analogy. The source material calls them care packages. Just imagine getting a box filled with all the specialized skills, shortcuts, commands, and inside knowledge someone would need to be an expert in one specific job. That is exactly what a plugin is for Claude. And here's why that's so powerful. A plugin is a pre-packaged bundle of expertise. It gives Claude all the tools it needs to act like, say, a product manager, or a financial analyst, or even a lawyer, right out of the box. So you don't have to write those crazy long, complex system prompts trying to get it up to speed. You just install the package. It's ready to go. So how does this actually work under the hood? You might think it's super complicated, but it's surprisingly simple. It really all boils down to two core ideas: skills and commands. And the difference between them is really key. Skills are automatic. They're smart. Claude just detects when you're talking about something relevant, like maybe you mention a specific legal term, and it automatically pulls in that legal skill just when it's needed. Commands, on the other hand, are totally explicit. You call them up yourself with a slash command, like /review contract, which forces Claude to use that specific function right then and there. And, you don't need to be a developer to understand this part. At its core, a plugin is really just a folder with a few simple files inside. You've got one file with some basic info, and then a few others that tell Claude what to do. The main thing to know is that it's all file-based, which makes it incredibly easy for regular folks to create and share their own. Okay, this is where it gets really practical for most of us. Anthropic has very clearly designed these plugins to fit right into the corporate world. They've basically created a specialized tool for almost every major department you'd find in a typical company. I mean, the sheer range here is pretty impressive, right? Whether you're in sales trying to draft outreach emails, or marketing planning a new campaign, or finance running a cash flow analysis, or even product management trying to write a PRD, there is literally a plugin designed to be your expert co-pilot. This is a huge leap from just generic help to true domain-specific collaboration. And this quote from the source material just perfectly illustrates the real-world impact. It calls out the legal plugin specifically. And it's not some theoretical tool. It's already proving to be, and I quote, unbelievably helpful for really complex practical tasks like reviewing a vendor contract. And the process couldn't be simpler. You just upload a document, and we all know how great Claude is with things like PDFs and Word docs. Then you just run that /review contract command. What you get back is a breakdown. Here are the good clauses, here are some potential risks, and most importantly, here are the core risks you need to look at right away. It's like having an instant first-pass legal review. Incredible. But, out of all of these amazing tools, the source material points to one plugin as being maybe the single most helpful of them all. And it's a solution to a problem that I think pretty much every company on the planet has: information scattered absolutely everywhere. This is the Enterprise Search plugin. So you just ask a question in plain English, and it doesn't just search one database. It goes and queries everything: your Slack channels, your emails, your documents, your internal company wikis, all at once. But here's the magic. It then deduplicates all the results, synthesizes it all into a single unified answer, and provides citations so you know exactly where the info came from. This is an absolute game changer for finding stuff at work. But what if your job is kind of unique? What if none of these pre-built plugins are a perfect fit for how you work? Well, that brings us to what I think is the ultimate power-up, something called the meta plugin. Get this. This is a plugin that creates other plugins. You just describe your unique workflow in plain English. The AI then figures out what skills and commands are needed to automate it. It writes the code for you, creating all the necessary files, and then boom, you deploy your very own custom plugin. This makes advanced personalization accessible to literally anyone. So let's just pull back for a second and look at the big picture. What does this whole shift toward plugins really mean for the future of AI assistance? Where is this all heading? Well, what we're really seeing here is a fundamental shift. We're watching AI evolve from a general purpose tool into a true domain expert. We're moving away from just completing single tasks to managing entire professional domains. It's like the 80-20 rule, right? These plugins give you that foundational 80% of the knowledge for a field, and then you can easily come in and add that final 20% of customization. We are absolutely entering the era of hyper-tailored AI assistants. And that kind of leaves us with one final big question to think about. This technology is all about mastering that 80%, the foundational, often routine parts of our jobs. So the real question for all of us becomes, when your AI can handle all of that, what new, bigger, more interesting challenges are you going to be free to solve?